One of the most important concepts that we learn in math and science has to do with distance, rate, and time. Now, the formula that brings them all together is D is equal to RT. So distance, some people remember it by using dirt. They think of dirt and then they remember it. Of course, the I doesn't mean anything, but just remember that DRT, right? So that means if distance is equal to rate times time, and rate will then be equal to distance over time, and time would be equal to distance over the speed or the rate, right? This is the same thing as rate or speed. And that's the same thing here. This one is time, so this is rate or speed. And the same thing will go here. So distance is equal to rate times time. Now, there's an application to this. You're traveling in a car, when you're traveling in a car and you see your speedometer, right? And it's the arrow is going, 10, 20, 30, and so on and so forth. That's most times, well, if you're in America, it says miles per hour. If you're in Canada and some other places, it says kilometer per hour. It actually has both units here for certain cars. You just see it tells you one, and then there's numbers representing the kilometers per hour, and there's numbers representing the miles per hour. There are only a few countries in the world that do not use metric, and those countries are America, Burma, and Liberia. As far as I know, all other countries use metric around the world. And so we have kilometers. Kilometers is very common when you travel to Canada and other parts of the world, for those who are in the US. So distance, rate, and time, very important concept. If somebody were to ask, what is the, if they give you the distance, 120 miles, and they tell you that the speed is 60 miles per hour, how long will it take to get to the certain destination? You would just set time equal to distance over speed. So that's 120 miles divided by 60 miles per hour. And that will give you 2 hours. So notice that this is very practical. If you're trying to get to a meeting, it's important that you know how much time you should give based on what the speed is, the speed limit to get to the place. So remember that the distance, rate, and time formula is very important. Make sure you know how to find the distance. If I give you the rate and the time, you just multiply those together. Make sure you know how to find the rate. You simply divide the distance by the time. Make sure you know how to find the time by dividing the distance by the rate. That is what the distance, rate, and time section has to do. That's what you need to know with the distance, rate, and time formula. There are more examples of this in our Tyler Wallace book. You can feel free to check out section 110, I believe it is, for more problems that compare sort of different situations where we might ask you, for example, A is 60 miles from B. An automobile at A starts for B at a rate of 20 miles an hour, and the one for B starts for A at 25 miles an hour. How long will it be before the automobiles meet? Things like that are very important for you to know. So in that particular question I just read to you, where they give you a distance, they tell you where A and B are apart. Their distance is fixed, right? Whatever that distance is, it is fixed. And so if they're 50 miles apart from one another, and you're trying to see, okay, this one is moving at a certain rate and this one is moving at a certain rate, at what point will they meet? That's another form of the question that we can see. After a certain amount of time, where will they be in relation to one another? These are just different types of problems I'm throwing out there to dig deeper. But what you need for this topic is just the distance is equal to rate times time. However, if you want to go deeper, go to 1.10 Tyler Wallace and look at number 1 to 5 and see what you think about those problems. Have a great day and let me know if you have any questions.